Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have not posted a video since my last video because it took so much out of me and then everything started getting pretty crazy in my life. But I wanted to make a video today because today is a big deal. Today is another court hearing for Britney Spears. Hopefully everything goes well. I know starting at 12:30 PST, there's a Free Britney LA page on Instagram and they're going to be doing a live stream of like the outside of the court. It's kind of crazy. Everyone's getting there right now, and Billie Bean Makeup is there. Jason Alexander, her first husband, the guy from As Not Seen on TV, I think his name Drew, is there, and a bunch of other people, fans, people up with signs, protesting, trying to fight for her freedom. If you have the time to watch my last video, it has so much information and I think it would be extremely helpful if you don't necessarily understand everything that happened in the past and why Britney kind of ended up where she is now. I think it's really important. Most people are like, she had a mental breakdown, she needs to be in a conservatorship, or not most, but a lot of people tell me that they don't think that she should have complete control of her life because there's no way that she'd be able to control her own life, and I just don't think that is the case at all, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the outcome of today is. So on Monday, Britney filed paperwork to make her father, Jamie Spears, no longer her sole conservator or the conservator over her estate. She wants him out of it. She wants this woman named Jody to be her like personal conservator, and then like a business to control you know, her estate and the business aspect of everything. I personally believe that there should be another option besides being in a conservatorship. If you don't know, she basically has the rights of a 12-year-old, okay? She has to ask for permission to do everything. She gets an allowance. She's not allowed to get married. She's not allowed to get pregnant. She can't go to Starbucks without permission. She can't hire her own lawyers, her own doctors, her own team of people to do her makeup. Like, she has no right to make any of those decisions alone. They have to be made with people. She can't post on Instagram without a team approving her post. And that's not the craziest thing. A lot of celebrities have people who help them with social media, but hers is a different story. It all feels more like control, manipulation, trying to make her seem a certain way. And we're not going to get into conspiracy theories. I don't believe 99% of them. All the facts are enough to see like how messed up the situation is. And I firmly believe if Britney was a man or poor, she never would have ended up in this situation, ever. And I think it's unfair, and it's time for it to end. It's not time to transfer it to another person. It's time for her to be able to make decisions, or for them to at least loosen the restrictions that she's under. I'm going to try to give like a TDLR or TDRL, whatever it is, a short version of my previous video, which like I'm telling you, it has so much good information. Please check it out. I'm really proud of that video. Anyway, so basically her entire life story, I'm going to try to sum it up as quickly as I can. Britney has been in the entertainment industry since she was extremely small. She was on Broadway when she was 8 years old. She did that singing show Star Search. She did the Mickey Mouse Club when she was 13. And then she put out her music when she was very young. I mean, she recorded Baby One More Time when she was 15, 16 years old, went on mall tours, and was like thrown into like mega stardom very quickly. I mean, she took off faster than really any other artist basically ever. She was huge really fast, and she did a lot of things that surprised people. She was controversial, but enough so where people talked about her, but people loved her. They were captivated by her, and she made a huge impact in pop industry even now. Britney was really pushed to work. She didn't have that many breaks, and she says in a lot of interviews that she doesn't like to take long breaks, but even so, they kind of were controlling her from the beginning, from the get-go. Her parents were making money from her from a small age. She was the breadwinner of her entire family and basically still is. So Britney has been working for a very long time. She's been making her money. She's been making her family a lot of money for a very long time. And that really seems like what she is to these people. So I just want to go through some like key events that I feel like a lot of people aren't aware of or aren't like putting two and two together of what caused her mental breakdown, okay? So Britney didn't really ever have time to cope, in my opinion. So things would happen, she wouldn't have the chance to cope because she was constantly going. And people can do that, but you can only do that for so long. Eventually you're going to come face to face with your past and things you never dealt with, and it's gonna hurt 10 times worse than it would have had you handled it while it was happening. So the first big thing, her breakup with Justin Timberlake. Then you have all these interviewers bringing up things that no woman now would ever be asked. And then you have her aunt is getting really sick and the paparazzi won't leave her alone. And I'm sure she was also doing other things like alcohol and partying, and that contributes to your mental health. You're constantly working, you're doing this and you're doing that, and you're never really focusing on yourself or who you are. And all of a sudden, things get worse. So then you have Kevin Federline. She gets with him, and then he is an awful husband to her at that time. I don't know what kind of person he is now, but he was not a good husband to her at all. He was awful to her. They had 2 children back to back, and when her second son was 2 months old, her and Kevin get divorced. So now she has 2 kids, probably suffering from some type of postpartum depression. I mean, when you're going through a divorce and you just had a baby, your hormones are crazy. So she's had all this stuff happen in the past that she never dealt with, and that hit her really hard. And then you have this happening, her crazy hormones, her psycho awful ex-husband, and all this stuff is happening to her at one time where she's now having to handle it, because now she's alone in a house with 2 kids. Sure, she had nannies, but she's now alone having to take care of these 2 kids with a guy who's off doing whatever he wants, having so much the time of his life, while she is struggling and feels alone. And now she's having to look at who Britney is. Who is Britney? And how are you supposed to know when your whole life up to that point without a conservatorship has been controlled and overprotected and over just everything? And then you have all these things you never dealt with, and now you're having to deal with them. And that is where you get a breakdown, okay? Kevin would not let her see her children, and she got really upset. Anyone would get upset. She was having a hard time. She wanted to see her babies. That was important to her. She loves them. And he went and answered the door when she was knocking. What did she go do? She went and she shaved her head and got a tattoo. Yes, this is not normal behavior. And some people will defend her and say this wasn't a breakdown. She had a mental breakdown, but who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Who would not have a mental breakdown when all this stuff has happened to them? They've never dealt with any of it. Their body looks different, their hormones are crazy, they're going through a hard time, and then now I can't even see my kids? Like, are you crazy? So she had a mental breakdown, and whatever reason she had for shaving her head, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. The fact of the matter is that she was struggling and people were watching and laughing. People weren't taking into account her mental health. They were making fun of her. Celebrities were making jokes about Britney Spears, like Katy Perry and all these like comedy like skits and shows. They were making fun of Britney. No one was taking into account the fact that she's a person that is suffering. And then another instance is her attacking the paparazzi as well as his vehicle. If you haven't seen like the video, the whole video where this happens, this guy is following her around. There's 2 paparazzi, one with a video camera and one with like a regular camera. And Britney is with, I believe, her cousin, and her cousin gets out of the car and grabs the video camera from the man, sets it down, and says, please don't do this right now. And Britney took the umbrella, attacked the truck or the car, and attacked the man. Imagine being followed every single day of your life all the time. Now you're in the middle of a breakdown, you're upset, you're sad, you're going through it, you miss your kids, and this asshole won't leave you alone. Like, I would attack him. I mean, me as a normal person, if I was being followed around all the time, I would probably attack somebody too. Like, and then people want to say, oh, like, she has awful mental health. Like, she is crazy. I don't care who you are. If you experience all of these things, you probably would do something extremely similar. If I was her, I probably would have done a lot worse. And then we have the next instance, which is when she locked her and her kids in her bathroom and wouldn't let them leave. Now, I don't know what conversation happened, but somebody called her, and it's kind of insinuated that they said something that really triggered her, and I believe it was intentionally done to make her seem even more crazy. And the cops finally get her out, they put her in the back of an ambulance, and instead of letting the ambulance take her away, they're taking pictures of Britney half naked in the back of the ambulance. They're following the ambulance. I mean, come on. Could you imagine all this stuff happening to you? Then they go throw her into a psychiatric ward. She gets 5150. That's what they call it here. I believe that's what they call it in Los Angeles too, or California. And that is when she's put under a conservatorship under the grounds that she has dementia, okay? y'all. Dementia. Britney Spears, who months later is doing, you know, cameos on TV shows. She's doing a tour. She's putting out an amazing album, a #1 single womanizer. Almost immediately after all this stuff has happened, she came back very quickly. And even after doing all those things, they put her under a permanent conservatorship under her father. And for people not to think that this is crazy blows my mind. The permanent conservatorship never should have happened. I can see maybe why the temporary one had to happen, because she was struggling and she needed someone to pull her out of that and say, stop, we need to help you. It's time, we have to fix this. And I agree with that. I still don't think conservatorship is necessarily the most like logical thing to have done in that situation, but whatever. To make the temporary conservatorship last now for 12 years, when she has done tour after tour, she's put out several albums, she has done so much with her career, and yet she is still under a conservatorship where she has no rights. And no rights. I mean, she has the same rights as my son, and people are just sitting back and letting it happen. And people are defending it. People are saying, well, Britney's crazy. Britney's a psycho. She can't take care of herself. How are you going to say to someone that the mistake you made 12 years ago dictates your current life when that you're a completely different person at 26 than you are at 38? Period. Completely different person. So to say a mistake, a breakdown, an emotional issue that she was having 12 years ago now determines her life now. Now makes it so she has no rights at all to anything, not even her own money that she earned, everyone. To say that is mind-blowing. And the fact that it took this long to start a movement is also crazy. And I'm so thankful for all the people who initially stood up and started saying things and started speaking up. And now Britney, I honestly, in my heart, believe that the reason that she is now saying, I don't want Jamie as my conservator anymore, is because of us. Not like me, but the whole entire Free Britney movement. We, all of us, have given a light to this situation, and there is no way that this abuse can continue happening when so many people want it to end. There's too many people who are like pushing for it now. And this is by no means me saying Britney doesn't have a mental health issue. That's not what I'm trying to say. A lot of people have mental health issues and have no one controlling their everyday life. There's other things, there's other options. There's, I forget what it's called, but it's like a decision helper. Like, people help you make decisions, but at the end of the day, as long as what you decide isn't gonna hurt you, you're allowed to make whatever decision you wanna make. And that is what Britney should have, at least temporarily, until we know for sure that she can take care of herself. And I believe she can, and I think this needs to end, and I hope you guys can support that too. I'm interested to see what ends up happening today. But it's time to free Britney. It's time. This can't go on anymore. This is wrong. Anyway, I digress, and I will do an update once this is over. Bye.